Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and I'm going to talk about loneliness. And I'm just going to adjust my boobies as I do this because I'm like, I'm in my underwear. I'm like dealing with the healthcare system right now. I have my bed covered. Like you can even see some of the documents here. It's covered in documents because I'm just having to deal with a lot of nonsense with the German healthcare system. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. That's what I just talked about in my previous video. What I'm going to talk about is loneliness. Loneliness is sort of like one of those topics that really hits me hard, like really deep. And I cover this in many different shapes and forms on my channel because it's something that I deal with, and I think a lot of trans people deal with, and just a lot of people deal with, wherever you are in life. Like there is this experience of loneliness, and some people are more afraid of it than others, and other people kind of embrace it and find a way to work with it. And I just wanted to talk about it because it's something that plagues me in a way, and I think I've found a solution for myself that may work for you. I'm not sure. It's something that I think is deeply personal for each person. But we're just going to explore that for a little bit today, and I'll try to keep the video short as my battery says it's going to go down, and I don't want it to die in the middle of this. So last night, or where do I start? This past week, I have been very, very busy, focused on pushing out my book because I just released my book. You can download that down below. And I've been promoting that and doing a bunch of other things like speaking at this conference on inner kung fu, which I hope to post soon. There's been a lot of stuff. So I've just been, hey, I can't even think about dating, or I can't even think about like other things in my life. And I have these friends around me, and we went out and we had a really good time on Saturday, and I had like 4 or 5 friends. So I'm not like actually lonely in terms of people, but I don't think loneliness has to do with the people that you're around. Do you feel lonely even when you do hang out or meet or talk to other people? Loneliness to me, how do you define it? Loneliness to me doesn't feel like it has anything to do with people, just generally speaking. It has to do with feeling like someone is connected with you and sees you for who you are and experiences you for who you are, and you can feel seen by that. I think for me that's what loneliness really kind of strikes at, is I don't feel completely seen by the people that I'm surrounded by, and I don't feel completely embraced because I cannot be fully seen. Now, I think that when you have friends are kind of, they fit into certain ways. Like how is your relationship with friends? There's certain modalities that you have with each friend that you experience joy with them, but it's sort of like, you know, you have that one friend that you do this kind of thing with, and you have that other friend that you do this kind of thing with. For me, I have one friend that I hang out and do social things with, and then I have another friend that it's just me and them time, and we just hang out together, and that's the best way of hanging out. And I like that. Like, you get a variety of people that you get to hang out with, and you get to experience that. But when it comes to romance and dating someone, and I'm single, dating someone and being connected, that's when I feel like you're looking for someone who can embrace a much larger realm of who you are. And that's where I feel very lonely. I feel super, oh man, I just felt the emotions around that. I feel super lonely in that sense because I don't feel seen by anyone. And it's tough. I normally go on several dates a week because I understand that it's sort of like a numbers game. You do have to kind of expose yourself to a lot of people to see what fits right. And yeah, before you kind of jump in there and say, oh, Ashley, like, the right person's going to come for you and you just have to wait and work on yourself. I'm tired of hearing that BS. Like, yes, that's possible, but I think that's a highly biased perspective, because when you say, oh, just wait and it'll all just work out, yes, I mean, you could just wait for anything and eventually something will happen. And so the data around that is highly biased towards this idea that just wait for a long time. So what am I supposed to do? Wait for 5 years? I don't know. I think it's ridiculous to think that just not doing anything is really going to help you work through your loneliness, or that you just work on the fact that you're lonely and just be alone for a long time. So I've been doing dates and all of that, but I stopped dating a few weeks ago. I've kind of just given up for the time being and focused on my book, got that done, followed that wisdom that I just mentioned there, wisdom. But I had a date last night, and it's with someone who wants to remain friends. But we had this lovely time where we were dancing and meeting eye to eye, and I felt like I was almost being kind of like lifted up in that moment. And it made me sad. Not because I wasn't enjoying that moment, but because I knew that the joy that we were having in that moment was conditional on being friends, that there was nothing more. And that I have a deep feeling, a desire to just be lifted up and to dance and to see someone eye to eye and to feel seen by that person. And it left me feeling actually very alone. It made me realize there's a deep sadness, deep down, of feeling alone. And I don't know how much battery we have left, so I gotta kind of wrap it up, Ashley. I guess what I want to say is I woke up this morning and I still felt that sadness. And here's where I kind of fixed things for myself. I examined this feeling within my heart. Like, what is this loneliness feeling? Can't self-love and self-compassion and love for oneself solve this problem? I believe it. I say it myself. Can't I address this loneliness myself, is what I said this morning. And the answer really was, I called out. I called out to my spirit guides, and I said, hey, like, this void, this loneliness needs to be filled. And I want my soulmate now instead of later, which is what I felt. And as I initiated that feeling, my spirit guide said this announcement to the rest of the universe or the world, I don't know. They just kind of announced my intent, and they said, are you sure you want this? And I said, yes. And normally I say no because I'm a little afraid of what I can manifest, but I said yes. And suddenly I got this feeling that kind of filled my heart, and it made me feel that completeness that I was seeking for without actually that partner. But it also came with this information, which was, when you find your partner, when you find that person that can resolve this or kind of fill this void of that feeling of loneliness, you're going to love them and be so into them, and it's going to feel like so next level that it's going to make it hard for you to want to spend time with your friends, because it's going to feel so much more. And I don't know if you can relate to this if you've been in a relationship before. Most of you probably have. When you get infatuated and pulled in by someone, everything kind of else gets dropped by the side. Friends don't become as valuable because this person sees all of you, and they're your friend and they're your lover and they're so much more. And that's when I realized, maybe I don't actually want my soul partner right now. because in doing that, I will say goodbye to the adventure of being single. I will say goodbye to the autonomy that I get, and my paper strewn across my room, everything in chaos, the adventures of just meeting people and the spontaneity of it all. I think there is still, for me, life to be lived as a single woman that I'm kind of undervaluing and not seeing. I have met people in my past that have been fully committed to wanting to build something together, and I've shied away from it because it scared me. And I think this is my own conclusion, is that completeness really is here already, and that all I need to do is just acknowledge that actually, you know what? I don't need someone to fill that loneliness, and I don't want them to do that, because when they show up, it's going to make everything so much less. So why not make everything now so much more, so that when that person shows up, I don't actually feel like everything else is so much less. Does that make sense? I don't know if this was super helpful, but I just wanted to express that, and I hope it is helpful. Please let me know what your experience is, what your thoughts are, and my video is about to die, so I'll send you some love. And download my book if you don't already have it, and check out my Patreon. I'd love to have you as a patron and to get your support. This has been brought to you by my Patreon supporters. Thank you. I'll see you again in another episode. Bye.